Okay, we are doing our second standard learning differences. And we just finished watching our video.
All right, so we'll go through the rubric. Did the candidate use appropriate instructional strategies to help English language learners learn the content being taught? Since we know that our student population is heavily Spanish, you chose to you chose Spanish idioms, and you were able to get them to come up with some of their own. And you also had them translated into English, translated into Spanish, and what it means, okay, and how it's used and who uses it. So they heard it in context. So you used their own life experience.
Yes.
Okay. Multiple perspectives. Again, it's the same thing. You introduce Spanish idioms, English idioms, and German idioms.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why German?
There was no really particular reason why I chose German. I just wanted something that was like different than Spanish,
Right.
Instead of Italian or French, I wanted something like completely different. So I
Good.
thought
So-
German would be
Good.
very different than Spanish or English.
Okay.
So comparing.
So they did get experience with a culture that is totally foreign to them. So
Yes.
that's good. What was their reaction to some of them? I mean, would you say positive, or did they find them amusing, or?
Yes, a couple of times they did laugh, but other than that, they didn't really have too much of a reaction.
But they were able to understand it, even something in another culture?
I think so.
Mhm.
I mean, it is like kind of a difficult concept, when you say hot potato, to understand exactly what you're talking about, but I think that, because we did kind of talk about what it meant in Spanish too, and they had heard them in Spanish and used them in Spanish, that helped.
Right. And did you deliberately choose idioms from different languages that have the same basic meaning? So it's like two different ways to say the same basic meaning.
Oh, we did do that with the English and the Spanish because I do speak some Spanish, and so I could understand it. German I don't speak at all, so I had to rely completely on the translation on the website that I used, which was Fluent U,
Right.
was the website that I went to.
Which you did research.
Yes.
So had you heard about this website before?
No,
or you
actually, I
just researched and
hadn't.
came across it?
Yes, this was the first time I had come across this website, and it's really a good website for idioms and different languages. They have all kinds of languages on there, so.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. All right. Did this candidate demonstrate her ability to make appropriate and timely accommodations? You did, after the initial instruction and you gave the students their assignment, you did pull aside, right then, you pulled aside kids who needed a little extra reteaching time. You didn't wait till tomorrow. You didn't say later, you said, okay, we'll take care of this right now. And did they only need a couple minutes and that was it?
Yeah, because I had the students that understood it were writing in their journal, and then the few that raised their hand that said they still didn't understand it, it did only take a couple of further instruction and guidance for them to say, oh yeah, I get it now, so. It didn't take long.
And then they went back and did their journal entry as well.
Yes.
So they were still expected to do the same assignment, they just needed a little extra.
Further clarification,
coaching,
yes.
Now, did, I don't know what I was gonna say. All right, differentiated instruction. Like we just said, you did have that little mini lesson to reteach the struggling students. And the ones who understood it pretty quickly, you challenged them with writing their own.
Yes, coming up with their own idiom
and its meaning.
Yes, and its meaning, and then sharing it with the rest of the group.
Oh, so they did share with the rest of the group.
With the class, yeah.
All right. And did you ever have them like draw a picture of it?
I did suggest to one of the students who was having trouble
Mhm.
at first that he might want to draw a picture first to clarify it in his mind, that, you know, if that would help him.
Mhm.
And so I think he drew a picture of it at first, and then he wrote out what it was,
Mhm.
so.
Okay.
But that was with the struggling student, not with
Right.
the,
The more
gifted.
visual, he needed a visual to get his thoughts together.
Yes,
And your choice of idioms in your examples, some were more obvious than others. You know, some were, what
Yes.
the idiom is really trying to say.
right,
You made sure you had a range of idioms. Some were fairly simple to understand, some were a little bit more difficult.
yes.
Mhm. Right. And valuing students. You know, you do insist that the kids listen to each other, and you do show that, like, in the video, you had them coming in, the way you greet them, and, you know, you're welcoming them, and they feel welcomed, it looks like, you know, and they knew exactly what to do, they didn't take it, you know, they didn't carry it away with that.
Right.
You know, come in, we greet each other, let's get to work.
Yes.
So that was good, and they knew what was expected, and I think they did feel like they were part of the group. So, so it was a good mini lesson on idioms.
Oh, thank you.